Hi, everyone, and welcome to Under the Spotlight. It's our time to hang out, to talk, to visit, to hear from people who add impact and value to our lives. I want to thank you all so much for your wonderful messages. You're enjoying the show. You love the guests. You're learning. We're all looking to be the best we possibly can be. Today's guest is very special to me because we have a story together of how we met. And before I introduce you, let me just say that relationships are everything, absolutely everything. And you already know that. And you're making friends and relationships here with Under the Spotlight and our many guests. To know who's coming up in our lineup, you can reach out at carmelasterling.com. Of course, our shows are live on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time, and now on all podcast platforms. So I do a lot of planning for these events, for these shows, and then something happens and it takes a turn. The notes go out the window. Well, that's actually happening here right now as we speak. Let me introduce you to my guest. This is Cheryl Henderson. She is New Life Network. She has resources beyond belief. Have you ever known anyone who's resourceful? Are you the resourceful person in your life? You have to find everything. I have family members like that. This woman has resources that are absolutely untouchable. We're going to open them up to you today, right now. So let's just go live. Let's just go live with Cheryl in her beautiful home. You look fabulous.
Oh, thank you.
Whoa.
Flattery will get you everywhere.
Hey, you look great. It's so good to see
It
you.
is great to see you.
I'm grateful that you're here as a friend so we can share our story. But as I was telling everyone, this is a unique situation where uh, we must be guided by the Holy Spirit or something, because all these days of notes are out the window, and we want to have a conversation about a couple of topics that I would uh, never even touch without your graceful knowledge and resources. So I want to thank you on behalf of everyone watching the show today, Cheryl Henderson.
It's my pleasure.
You have spoken in front of hundreds and thousands of people. That right there, most people are afraid to get up in front of a few people, but over the years, you've spoken to thousands, right?
I have, and it has been absolutely amazing what God has done in the places where I've been allowed to speak and share.
You are your ministry. I wanted to read this to everyone. Director of New Life Network, a ministry to the marketplace. I
Yes,
love that you named it that. And you've been around for a long time. You and your late husband, Ed, founded this about 30 years ago. Do I have that right?
you're right. Back in 1990.
Wow. And when it says to the marketplace where we met everybody, and we think this is funny. I went up to Cheryl. She was at a table. She had all these books and some things out. And I was over there like shopping, and I meet this lovely lady, and she was just so warm and welcoming. And you and Ed were at this conference that I was at, and we started chatting about shopping, if I remember right. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, yes, I've shopped with you on TV shopping. And we became fast friends. It wasn't very long after that, probably days, I reached out to you via email and I said, okay, from the conference, I'm a born again Christian. How do I pray? And that's how we became loving sisters. Is I asked for your guidance. And really that's what you do, is you guide people beyond just prayer. Can you give us a little nugget of sort of how you would guide people? And then we'll get into our topic,
Well,
specific
we
topic.
went into we went into these functions, serving as chaplains, so to speak. We didn't care what background you had, but if you came up and you had an issue like, how do I pray? Or is God really real? Or any question people had about marriages or whatever, we would have them to have resources. And I think I sent you a book called Prayers That Availeth Much, which was a book written probably 30 years ago, but it taught me how to pray. And basically, it was teaching us to pray God's word, because when He speaks, it's faith filled. And without faith, we can't do anything. So that's the book I sent you. So part of what we do is we help guide people to whatever they need in their life, whether it's how to pray, what church do I go to, can you recommend a church? I've got a kid on drugs. Do you know any place what can I do? And so over 30 years, we develop resources that we can plug people into that will help them move to the next place in their life.
And here's where we want to go. The resources are very dynamic. Go to the website, Cheryl's website, newlifenetwork.org, and you can click on resources and see all the things. So now you're working on your own. What do I need? What do I want? What do I want to learn? The amount of resources are heavy and full and just vibrant. The book collection that you're suggesting up there is like, oh, I got a few more to read. I haven't read this, this, and this, because we're always on a journey to just be the best we possibly can be. You're born in Georgia originally? Are you
Atlanta, Georgia. Yes.
Atlanta, Georgia? Okay, so everybody's loving your accent. I love your accent too. If I could pick one other than one I have, it would be yours. We want to focus on a couple of your teammates who want to hit this very quickly so that we can help everyone that is watching, and not only you, but maybe while you're listening, ladies and gentlemen, you have someone in your heart and your life that you're like, they really could use this resource. You are welcome to share this live. You are welcome to share the podcast. You are welcome to reach out to Cheryl, even directly on Facebook or email as well. Where should we go first? Tell us about Dean, maybe your teammate.
Well, we have a team of people that help us because one group can't do it all. And one of our team members is called Dean Sykes, and he has a website called deansykes.net. And Dean, at one time, actually was ready to give up his own life, and he was ready. He was ready to pull the trigger, and he got a phone call that stopped that. His mother called him, and if I remember the story. Well, the whole point is, over the years, Dean has gone into high schools, and he goes into these schools to help our young kids know that they really matter. And he has them fill out cards that said, if you've been thinking about suicide, fill this card out because we're not going to let you do that. Promise us you won't do that. And he tells them about God has a plan for your life. You have a destiny. You're not just here to breathe air. And so he's amazing. And I respect him highly. We've known him for 30 years, and he's the real deal, big time. And I guess the thing is, when I grew up in high school, I never thought about suicide, but it is rampant today in our public schools and, well, in all schools. So
And
that's
you just never know. You don't know what. Is he going in these schools on his own, like making contacts and getting in there? How receptive? Can you give us a feel for that? How
Well,
receptive?
he has made great inroads into the public school systems, and uh, principals are glad to have him. Of course, he can't go in and preach Jesus, but he can go in and encourage these kids to be all that God created them to be. And he goes in with a very encouraging message. And most of the schools, they love him and they bring him back year after year. So he has gotten great favor as he's gone forward to do this.
So if someone's listening right now and they need this resource, just guide us here. Go to newlifenetwork.org, click on resource, Dean Sykes, and then you connect with him.
You can do that. I don't think his website is on mine, which is an error on my part, but his website is Dean Dean Sykes Sikes.net.
All
And
right,
you
thank
can go
you.
straight to him, and he has a great team of people that can help and all kinds of great resources.
We really appreciate you doing this today, because usually I call myself soft serve. You know, it's out here, we're having fun and we chit chat and you get some nuggets and some tips. These are very hard topics. They're tough, they're heartbreaking. But I don't know if I shared this with the audience, but we were all set to go, and I showered, came out, was going to do my makeup. I threw my robe on and I walked out to check the time, and something says, if you don't share the message, how will people know? And I'm like, what message? How people know? And these two topics came to mind. I knew they were on her website, right, on Cheryl's website. And I called her and I said, these two topics. She said, sure, I'd be happy to help you talk about that. I'm thinking, I wouldn't touch it without her. She's carefully guiding all of us. And that is still in my brain, Cheryl. If I don't share the message, how will people know? That could be with anything, but this resource for teens is powerful. As a mom,
Yep.
grandma, we all know dads out there. We're thinking about how hard life really is for young people today? I can't even
They don't
imagine.
handle it the way we do. By the way, it's Dean Sikes, not Sykes. Dean Sikes. Kids today seem to, you and I came up in a time where you just did what you had to do and you got it done. Okay. We didn't have time to have anxiety or depression. But if my mother told me to do something, baby, you got her done. So the kids today, the mentality is different. Of course, they grew up in a world different from what you and I grew up in. And a lot of them struggle big time. They struggle with things on the internet, they struggle with things on Facebook. I actually have my nephew's son, who is 21 years old, beautiful, handsome young man in college. He broke up with a girlfriend. She put scathing things on Facebook and he shot himself.
Oh my
So
God.
that was a very devastating thing. And you have to understand that that is a spirit and that that is an issue. His parents had no clue, no clue. They were totally caught off guard. And he was a precious Christian boy. And let me just say this, there's some wrong teaching out in the world that says if you commit suicide, you go to hell. That is not true. That is
Amen.
totally not true. And so when somebody takes their life, they are usually not in their right frame of mind. And don't you know that God is bigger than all of that? And that little boy was born again, and he is in heaven. I guarantee it.
I
So,
love that. I love how you speak in absolutes and you know it, and you've lived life so long and so deep in your faith. With that's not where it started though. Do many people know that you actually had a modeling career? Have
I
we
did
gone there?
back years ago when I was skinny and young. It was a great time in Atlanta. I was part of an agency called Peachtree Center Models, and I did do a lot of modeling, and it was a blast. But those days kind of came and went. So now we're moving on to other things. And I haven't always served the Lord. That really didn't start. I got saved at 12, but I didn't live for God. But at 30, I made a dramatic change.
How
And
did that happen?
well,
What happened?
I had an unexpected pregnancy, and then, which I did not want, by the way, I was modeling, and you can't model when you're fat. And my doctor, who happened to be a Christian, took me by the shoulders when he told me I was pregnant. I said, "Well, I don't want to be pregnant." He took me by the shoulders like this, and he said, "Young lady, God has his hand in this." Well, I didn't think too much about God at the time. And I said, "Well, God doesn't have to get up for the 2 o'clock feeding." And I was devastated. And that was hard. That was ugly. Well, here's the deal, that child came at 7 months. He had pyelonembrine, yellow jaundice, and pneumonia. They told me they did not think he would live. So when I was coherent enough to walk to the neonatal care unit, there was that precious little baby, the little heart just pumping for every single breath. And I felt so guilt ridden. Like, this baby didn't ask for this. And I kept hearing that doctor's words, God has his hand in this. And the nurse came up to me and she says, "Well, we don't know how he's going to do." And I said, "Well, I do, because God's hand is in this and he deals in everlasting life."
Woo!
From that point on, I turned my heart over to Jesus big time. Big
This
time.
is like a radical change. I love hearing this. It's like the before and after, what life was like before and what it's after. And now your servant's heart. I mean, you continue to pour into people. You're speaking. If you want to reach Cheryl to speak, ask. Just ask. We'll connect you. You can connect on your own. She's an amazing speaker, as you can hear now. We love her accent. We love her knowledge. We appreciate the experience. I mean, that's wisdom for us. You put together a team that is mind blowing, mind blowing. There's a couple that's a part of your team. We're going to show their picture. They're under resources. I admire their work so much. Sex trafficking is the topic. I can barely handle talking with you about it, let alone look anything up. So I'm like not in the middle. I'm hiding from it. I'm scared to know. Help us understand this in a gentle way and guide all of us to point in the right direction. Cheryl?
David and Lisa Mitz, excuse me, have a ministry called Destiny House. And Destiny House brings in girls that have been rescued from sex trafficking, gives them a home, helps them rehabilitate and enter back into life, helps heal their heart, their emotions, their mind, and their spirits. And I didn't know a whole lot about it either. And I kind of kind of swept it under the rug. I didn't really want to know about it. But when David and Lisa got involved, and we've known them for 30 years as well, she told me some things that I thought, I don't know about this. I don't know if I can handle this. And I don't have all the right statistics, but I will tell you this, it is real. And I just told them earlier, and you may know this or may not, but one of the worst days in this country for sex trafficking is the Super Bowl. And I can't even tell you, they bring in trailers with girls. And some of these girls, I mean, they are abducted all kinds of ways from other countries, from this country, out of the girls that are prostitutes. I mean, all kinds of things. And y'all listen, this is not God's will. It is not God's plan for his precious daughters. And this couple just has a heart for rescuing them. Lisa actually wrote a song called Where Has Love Gone? And if you go there, you can go to Lisa Mitz. I don't remember exactly what hers is, but you can get to her from our website. Her husband has a ministry called One New Man, and in that on that page you can click on Where Has Love Gone, and it's on YouTube as well.
Okay.
That's a powerful video that she wrote for the defenders, the men that go in and rescue these women. So I'm just telling you, it is real. And they just can't, it's just a hard thing. It's a very hard thing, but it's a very real thing. And we need to be aware of it.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
We need to be aware of it, and we need to support it.
Right. So my guest today on Under the Spotlight brings us awareness and resources, not just a topic to talk about, not something to make it controversial or the numbers that go up. This is about resources. So my producer, Peter, has been amazing here with the pictures and the links. And now we're going to continue with, after with hashtags, because it's a way to get the message out. Can you help us, ladies and gentlemen watching, share the darn video, share the podcast, share her website? It doesn't, however it works for you, go and do it. This is now, it's out of our hands and into yours, but we needed the resources. Does that make sense to everybody? Am I making sense here? And I ask that because this is a very unusual Under the Spotlight to have resources like this in our hands. These are life-altering, life-changing. Yes, Cheryl?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And real quick, I don't know how much time we have, but we also have other resources. If you've got somebody that's going through drug problems, we have a group called Total Freedom. Guy and Kate Ianello, they run a treatment discipleship program for both men and women. And we also have a missionary, Mr. Doug Rowland from Alive to Love. If you want to go on a mission trip and see the miracles of God, go with him. It's amazing. I've been to Honduras with him. So we have all kinds of great things that we can help you with. And that's
and you've helped everywhere. We have a picture of you at a hotel with our mutual friend, Mr. Brigg, and you guys did a baptism in the hotel pool.
Oh my gosh.
I just think that's hysterical.
Well, you have to know Mr. Brigghart. He is not like anybody else, and he has such a heart for people to be saved and to get all of God. And he just decided one Sunday at a function, we're going to have a baptismal service. And I'm telling you, as you can see, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. It was, now the Marriott freaked out, but other than that, it was amazing. It was.
Are people more open now? I mean, we're talking about topics on Facebook and YouTube and and all the platforms that normally wouldn't be talked about in the past. How are people feeling about like the revivals or saying Jesus or you're a Christian?
I think they're loving it.
What's happening?
Well, I think I don't think there is a revival in this country right now. It's happening at Asbury College, Lee College. I just heard Texas A&M. It's breaking out there, and it's really not a show. I mean, they don't have lights and they don't have a lot of fancy stuff. It's just people gathering and they're hungry for God, and He shows up, and His
And
presence is there.
we want to hear more from Cheryl. Our time is up, but just for this show. There's more to come. We'll have to do this again. I
Absolutely.
encourage everyone at least share the website, right? newlifenetwork.org. That will help the people that you want to, open their eyes and make awareness. Cheryl, you're just deeper in my heart today, and I love you so much. We're just so grateful for you sharing everything that you shared today with us. Any parting advice?
Parting advice, hey, press into the presence of God. That's my parting advice, because He is the only one that can help this crazy, mixed up world we live in. So, and love each other, do random acts of kindness.
Before we go, you also offer, Peter, getting some messages, ask about churches all over. Can you have a resource for churches? Tell me what that is, please. Someone's
Well,
asking.
I actually researched the churches myself. If you go on the New Life Network and click churches, there's a button there, and send me your zip code, because I have to know where you live. I will send you a list of churches that I recommend.
That you personally recommend, that
I
you
personally recommend.
checked out. So this is a place for us to go, whether we're new or not so new, young or
Right?
old or in between, doesn't
Yeah.
matter, right? God loves all
Doesn't
of us.
matter.
Show up.
Doesn't matter.
I love this. This has been amazing. Fastest 20 minutes ever. Oh my God.
Really?
You agree? Oh my goodness. So do you have when you have your speaking engagements coming up, or if someone wants to reach out to you, how best? Through the website as well? You have all your
You can go
contact.
to Cheryl at newlifenetwork.org, and that would be great.
How would you show up at business events, as an example? Or I know you've done a lot of network marketing conferences and conventions and so forth. Can you give us a little glimpse into how you would show up for
I
us?
think if it's a networking or a business organization, sometimes I do bring books. It's not about the books, it's just that they're a point of contact sometimes. Or sometimes I just come in and speak. It depends on what the person wants and what the event is. I
I
can
have to
come in
say,
a lot of different ways.
I love that you're taking these steps. Your husband, your late husband, he passed away. It's been 2 years
Two
now, a
years
little
ago.
over two
Yep.
years. And I know he'd be so proud of you, because you're doing things that are new, and you're keeping New Life Network going. You're doing new things. You're making these appearances. I just love what you're doing, and I will follow you closely for sure. You're exciting to me.
Pray for me too while you're following. Pray also.
I will pray.
Stepping out in new territory.
You are. Is it exciting? Are you excited about it?
I am very excited about it, and a little nervous too. But
Of course.
one of the things God told me when Ed passed is finish what you started.
And
So
you're
I'm
doing
going to
just
do that.
beautiful. Love you so much. Thank you for your
Love
time
you
today.
too. God bless
Cheryl
you.
Henderson, God bless you too. Our guest on Under the Spotlight. March is going to be epic as we close out February in a very special way. I want to thank you all for being here during the live, for listening to the podcast. To connect, CarmelaSterling.com. Love to hear from you. We do have people requesting to come on as guests. We've heard from many of you saying how inspired you are, you've learned, and our goal with this show is to bring people on, to shine the spotlight on them, and to share their story, because doesn't everyone have a story? See you next time on Under